Welcome to the Simon Fairfield Public Library. My name is Justin Snook. I am the director, and come in and take a peek. We'll show you what we got. Whenever you come into front doors, we have a foyer here. This is not climate controlled, so we put materials out here that don't necessarily require a whole lot of preservation. So over here we have paperbacks, and if you can turn the camera around behind you, we have large print resources. These shelves were recently assembled by Ron Rocheleau. We're very grateful for those. It's good work, looks good. When you come inside the front doors, the first thing you'll see is the circulation desk. Fun fact, the circulation desk used to be over here catty corner. Because back whenever this library was built in 1903, it was donated by James Fairfield in memory of his parents. Libraries worked differently. You came to the library, you told the librarian what you were after. The librarian would go find it for you, but you did not get to roam the stacks, you did not get to touch the books. Things have changed a lot since then. So now you come to the circulation desk, you tell us what we want. If we don't have it in our 35,000 item collection, then we can draw from the collection of all the rest of the libraries and CWMRs. So we provide access to over 1 million items by proxy that way. Books, CDs, DVDs, any kind of media format imaginable, pretty much. And this is where the magic happens. You come here, you give us your card, we scan it, we find what you're after. If we don't have it today, we'll send for it, and it'll end up on that whole shelf back there for you. And we'll send you an email or give you a call whenever it's ready. So free access to stuff. You may have to wait a little longer for it than if you bought it on Amazon, but it's free. We do provide public access computers. We have 2 here, and we have 2 in here in the children's room. We have a collection of juvenile fiction, which spreads a gamut of ranges. You'll find your popular books here, you know, the Harry Potters, the Rick Riordans, but also highly reviewed materials that experts agree are good cultural additions to any collection. We have board books down here, next to the giraffe, where kids can reach them. They're never in very good order because tiny hands take them off, they put them back up. But that's to be expected. For children, we have new items here on top of the board book. So if you know it's brand new and you come in and you're looking for something you've never read before, that's where you would find it. Our biggest juvenile collection is our picture books. We have lots and lots and lots of picture books for reading to children. Some of them are classics and some of them are just downright hilarious. We have easy readers for children who are just learning how to read. We like to say whenever someone comes in looking for, you know, first books, look under the dragon, because there it is. It's under the dragon. And then once kids are ready to sort of graduate up to the next level of reading, we have intermediate readers, yellow dots. So those are the items that are for kids who aren't, you know, just learning their first words anymore, but are getting ready to start reading chapter books, getting ready to sort of, you know, begin to mine the depths of literature. We do have some audiovisual media. We have audio books for kids. We have DVDs for kids. If you want a movie that's kid-friendly, this is where you want to look. Everything on this shelf is rated G. We don't even put PG items here. So that whenever little kids come in, they can grab something off the shelf, take it to mommy and say, I want to watch this, and mommy doesn't have to say, ooh. So that's there for them. This is our collection of juvenile nonfiction. If you're familiar with the Dewey Decimal System, it's a lot of numbers, but I think it's easier to describe it in terms of sort of how knowledge starts. So like, you start with general knowledge, and then you move into sort of philosophy and sociology. Then you have hard sciences like biology, chemistry, all that stuff. Then you start moving into how things work, like automobiles, cars, trucks, construction equipment books are huge. Kids love those. Then you get into things like poetry and literature, and finally you end up with history. And almost everything on this wall is geography, because one of the consistent school projects is kids needing to do projects on states or on countries. So we keep stock so that kids can come here and fill those needs. And also biographies are big. Kids are always doing research projects on biographies. We have dinosaurs for children who want to come play with dinosaurs. We kind of rotate what we have out here. But for children, tactile play is just as much of a part of a learning experience as is reading, because children are movers. They're just figuring out how to interact with the world, and playing is their literacy. Believe it or not, we do still subscribe to print newspapers. So Telegram, Gazette, Blackstone Valley Tribune, a few others you'll find here. We don't keep a backlog, we don't keep a newspaper archive, but if you're after the most recent local news, it's there. We recently added a coffee bar, so if you want to come in and donate $1 to the Friends of the Library, you can make yourself a Keurig with all the fixins. We do subscribe to a lot of periodicals and magazines as well. Gardening, crafts, knitting, sort of home stuff, those are the big circulators here. If it's a popular magazine, then I subscribe to it so that we get it. We have PG movies here, so a step up from the G movies in the juvenile section. And for adult materials, the new stuff is under the clock. This is where most people come. Most people will walk straight into the front door and come right to this shelf and start looking for their new fiction, for their new mysteries, for the new science fiction, and young adult stuff is down here too. And then all this is nonfiction and then large prints and paperbacks. If it's new DVDs or media, we put it up here, but new DVDs don't tend to stay at the library. And, you know, we don't want things to be at the library. We want them to be in your home. We want you to be reading them, watching them, bring them back, and then go out again. So in an ideal world, most of our collection is not actually on our shelf. If all of our collection was here at any given time, then we would not be able to house it. Winter tends to be the time whenever circulation is the lowest. And even then, we only tend to have about 90% of our collection here. In summer, it can drop as low as, 70 to 80% of our collection is in the building. The rest is out where it's supposed to be. The DVDs are very popular. We bought Blu-rays for a while, so we have a few up here. But part of being a library is we don't want our services to be socioeconomically stratified. And there's a lot of people who don't have Blu-ray players. I don't have a Blu-ray player. So we stick to formats that the most people will have access to. So we do still stock a lot of DVDs. This whole room pretty much is DVDs on this side. Then we have some music CDs. We have games. We don't have games for the newest consoles because, again, we want to serve people across socioeconomic strata. So we have PlayStation 2, Xbox 360. The DS games are huge circulators. I don't know where all these DSs came from, but it seems like lots of kids have them. We have audiobooks for adults, and then we have audiobooks for young adults. This used to be the large print collection. It was a good place for it because it was really accessible, but I wanted to make room to get our young adult collection downstairs because the young adult collection for the past couple of years has been living up in the loft. And you have a lot of adults, like me, who enjoy reading young adult fiction. It can be lighter, it can be a little bit more optimistic, and a lot of it's just creative. Young adult fiction goes places that adult fiction doesn't go a lot of times. So that's all this. So this room is the guts of the library. These are our main stacks. We have adult fiction, we have mysteries, science fiction, and nonfiction. If it's been published within the last 10 or so years and still has popular appeal, we do our best to have it on this floor. We have quite a bit of mysteries, because those tend to be pretty popular in Douglas. We have lots of general fiction, but one of the things I am most proud of is our history collection. Thanks to the Moan family, we receive sizable donations every year that we can spend on historical items. So if I can just buzz past you and come this way, Our nonfiction collection starts here, and the history section starts in this area and continues and wraps all the way around the other side. Histories, biographies. Our historical collection is the envy of the Blackstone Valley because we just have great stuff. It's also a personal passion of mine, so I'm careful with what I select with the funds that we have. Another huge popular item is cookbooks. All of these are cookbooks. Vegan cookbooks, vegetarian cookbooks, barbecue cookbooks, paleo cookbooks, and just, general cookbooks. Martha Stewart, smoothies. If you want to know how to cook something, come to the library. We got you covered. This is the basement. When you come down the stairs, our children's librarian works down here, our programming room is down here, we have a lot of storage, but one of the most recent additions is our archive. Historically, we have had a lot of materials sort of squirreled away here and there with no rhyme or reason, but we have had volunteers, namely Rebecca Lavallee and Betsy Youngsma, have been down here. We have set them up with a workspace. We're buying archival level storage containers. So all of these precious one-of-a-kind records of our local town history are now in acid-fortified or acidic-free alkaline-fortified boxes, so that they will continue to last in the best preservation circumstances possible. Most of the pictures and videos you see of the library probably happen in this room. This is the children's programming room. It's called the Carrick Room officially because the funds to renovate this, which used to be just a dirt floor basement, came from the Carrick family. We have puppet shows, we have story times, we have Lego engineering workshops. This is where we read to Cooper. Once a month we have a greyhound come in, a service greyhound who lets children read to him, reluctant readers. This is where most of the big social things happen. So this place is usually packed with kids. We had Sparky's Puppets here yesterday, and we had 57 people packed in here. It can get crowded. But it's what we got, and it's pretty nice. Upstairs we have the William J. Wallace room. If you notice, we have ukuleles here now, so you can actually check out a ukulele and borrow it for a week. We've printed out some literature for how to play them and tune them. So yeah, just trying to diversify our collection. That was actually made possible by a grant from the Worcester Community Foundation in memory of the Carricks. Up here we have overflow DVDs, because we get a lot of DVD donations. I actually don't spend a lot of money on DVDs. They tend to just come. And we don't have enough room downstairs for them, and I don't want the library to be completely taken over by DVDs. So the duplicates, the ones that don't circulate as much, we move up here. This space is kind of modular. Right now we're doing a summer reading Lego build program, so any kid who wants to come upstairs can sign in and add to the Lego world that we're building on the floor. And we still have a whole lot of Legos, and I wanted to see all of them used by the end of the summer. So if you want to build with Legos, come on up. We also have summer reading materials up right now for Blackstone Valley Tech and for the Douglas elementary, middle, and high schools. We keep some young adult nonfiction, but we don't keep a lot of it because it's easy to classify young adult nonfiction as either juvenile or adult. And the other thing we have up here is graphic novels, and we have been praised extensively for our complete collection of Walking Dead material. Due to the space limitations in the library, we do have to take advantage of every nook and cranny that we can use. So, I like to refer to this as my second office, up here. This space was recently cleaned out as part of a Boy Scout Eagle project. It was full of boxes and piles of dusty, crumbling books, some of which had been original to the library and probably started deteriorating back in the 1920s. They had been deaccessioned from the libraries as early as like the 30s and 40s. They were covered with dust and bat guano, so we cleared those out because they were a bit of a safety hazard. And now I'm developing a plan to keep the space up here maintained so that we can keep some materials up here. It gets hot in the summer, so I wouldn't put anything valuable up here, but it stays dry. So for instance, I can keep my files in here that I don't have room for in the office. We have a few artifacts that we don't really have space for downstairs, old typewriter, some axe heads that are original to the axe mills. And this is more storage space for books whose popularity has waned, but you know, once a year or so we may have someone come in looking for that book and I want to have it. And this room is my own personal Narnia. This is where, it's really just an extension of what I'm doing over there. Trying to keep books that, you know, have some kind of cultural appeal, are gonna have long-lasting value, but we don't want them littering the collection downstairs, making it hard to find the things that people are actually after. So I keep up here a lot of fiction, and we're filling it out. Right now we have some books in the basement. I'm trying to switch that around because I think we could put that space to better use and move all of the closed stacks up here. And this is what I like to call my doomsday shelf. So if Douglas somehow ended up isolated from the rest of the world, this shelf contains a nice general corpus of American literature, science. I have some books on basically rebuilding civilization from scratch, even just, you know, for kicks and giggles. But the great literary classics are here. The most important historical works are here. We have another massive half of the attic. I only use half of the attic, but the other half is for the bats. They stay on their side, I stay on my side. The library is your resource, so let me know how it can best serve you. Let me know what you want to see here. We have an open door policy. My office doors never close, and I'm happy to make a coffee for anybody. So come in, check it out, have conversations, get involved, and let's make it the literary heart of Douglas.